Right, okay, we are live. I thought I would be late, but I'm somehow not. But listen, welcome back to the channel. If you're watching this either live or playback, like, sub, share, do whatever you got to do. Make sure you are turning on post notifications as well, so you do get notified every time I make a video, a match reaction, a transfer video, just a little normal footy chat live stream like this. Whatever it may be, make sure you are hitting the likes, doing whatever you got to do. Now, obviously, it was Champions League last night and also the night before, and also with some tonight. And we've also got some good Premier League action this weekend. And I will go into detail more on the Arsenal against Manchester City game on Sunday, because that is obviously going to be its own preview, because obviously it's an Arsenal channel and I'm an Arsenal fan, so that will be the case. However, there is quite a lot to talk about from last night and I guess the night before as well, because there were, like I said, some good games, and some games left till late. There was some decent quality of Champions League football this weekend. If I can get the tab up that I'm looking for, make sure you are smashing the like as well if you have just entered. But yeah, I'll get onto the game tonight. What I think will happen. But to be fair, so you've got tonight, you've got Newcastle, Barcelona at St James's Park, and you've got Man City versus Napoli. Now, obviously, Newcastle have been out of the Champions League for what, 1 or 2 years now. I think 1 year they were out because they were in it in 23-24, weren't they? But they got knocked out in the group stages. But yeah, they host Barcelona. It's a tough one to call because obviously Newcastle haven't got Isak, but they've got that Voltemada who bagged on his debut. Barcelona are without Lamine Yamal, and one thing about Barcelona, they've got goals in them. However, they do concede goals due to that high line they play. But that isn't how Hansi Flick likes to play high risk, high reward football. And that game being at St James's Park is interesting because one thing about Newcastle is that they are a tough team to break down. Eddie Howe sets them up well so that they are hard to beat. But to be fair, I think let's have a look at Barca's team who they played the other night against Valencia, I think it was. They beat him 6-0, weren't it? Yeah, they beat Valencia 6-0. I still haven't seen the highlights yet. I should probably watch them. But they played the front three of Ferran Torres, Rooney, and Rashford, and they beat them quite comfortably. Rafinha came off the bench, and Lewandowski came off the bench, and they both scored 2 goals. But I think they probably will start Rafinha and Lewandowski in this game. Obviously, being at St James's Park will definitely be a tough game for any team, especially in this competition. You do expect the atmosphere to be sort of electric. It's their first game back in just over a year. But to be fair, that is a tough game to call. I still think Barcelona will win that game, but I don't think Newcastle will make it easy for them at all. But if I was to probably give a score prediction, I probably would go 3-1 to Barcelona. And the other game of any interest, really, because today is not that great, really. You got Copenhagen, Leverkusen, Club Brugge, Monaco, Frankfurt, Galatasaray. That might be a decent game. Sporting against Kairat, and then that's about it, really. Because Champions League on a Thursday is weird because there's no Europa League in it. I'm pretty sure that won't kick in until next week because I think we've got League Cup games for the teams that are in this competition. But yeah, Man City and Napoli, that's going to be an interesting one because I've not really seen much of Napoli this season. I know obviously they won the league last season. But let's have a look at their recent form because it will be tough to judge. Obviously, I've not really seen them. But they beat Fiorentina. So have they won all their games? So that was a club friendly. So the first game was against Sassuolo. So they've won. Yeah, they won their first 3 games. They beat Sassuolo, Cagliari, and then they beat Fiorentina. And obviously Rasmus Højlund scored his first goal. But to be fair, that was shocking defending. But yeah, one thing about Antonio Conte's team, they're going to be hard to break down. He is a very defensive-minded coach. He's very defensive first in his approach. But to be fair, it's a tough one to call because I can see both teams winning this game. And yeah, Man City beat Man United 3-0. However, City weren't that good. They were not good at all. Rodri was crap. Reinders was crap. Their best players were probably Doku and Haaland. I think Foden was in and out of that game, but yeah, like I said, them two were probably the best players, and I can see this being a draw, but I can definitely see Napoli nicking it. Now whether they do, because they probably will play Rasmus Højlund up front. We have no idea, but I do see them winning this game. They got Kevin De Bruyne coming back to the Etihad as well on his return, and yeah, so that's going to be an interesting game. I think I probably will be keeping an eye on Barcelona a lot more. I will try probably have the Man City game on there as well. But yeah, Napoli's going to be an interesting opponent for City. But I want to sort of talk about the games that were last night because I was watching from the majority of it, the Bayern Munich Chelsea game, and if we're being real, that is probably absolute schooling from Bayern Munich against Chelsea because I think Chelsea were in the game at times. However, I think Bayern's class and their quality showed in the end because there were spells where Chelsea were putting them under a bit of pressure, especially when it went 2-0 and then Cole Palmer got that one goal back, literally straight from kickoff, pretty much it was. And look, I think Bayern comprehensively deserves to win that game, don't get it mistaken, but Chelsea were putting up a fight, and I think they were just let down by mistakes and stuff like that, especially that dodgy touch from Gusto. Casado giving away a penalty. I thought Cucurella, that's the shakiest I've seen him look in a while because I don't know about you, but he is probably the closest. He's definitely close to a world class left back in my opinion, and that's one thing about Chelsea's fullbacks, James and Gusto. I say they would be world class. I think Cucurella is on the verge of being world class. He's like on the sort of yeah, like I said, on the glimpse of being like that. But James, one thing that lets him down is his fitness. But they did play Gusto yesterday, and he weren't exactly great at all. I think probably Caicedo was probably their best player. Caicedo and Palmer, even though Caicedo gave away that stupid penalty, he wasn't that bad throughout the game. And one thing about Chelsea is that a lot of people I've seen online since they've they've had time to play under Maresca. They're saying that, oh, we're no longer Cole Palmer-esque FC. We got more quality now. However, the games that I've watched, there's nothing for me to see that they aren't Cole Palmer FC. And Cole Palmer got him back in the game against Brentford and got him back in the game against what do you call it? Against Bayern. And if he weren't in the side, I struggled to see how they even get a foothold in that game at all because Pedro Neto wasn't good at all. His decision making was fucking wank at times, and that's one thing about Pedro Neto playing on the opposite side is meant to be. You have to play him on the other side, and yeah, you've got Cole Palmer playing on that right hand side, and you've got Enzo playing in midfield. I want to talk about Enzo, and I will upload this clip to TikTok as well if I can get it uploaded. What the fuck does Enzo Fernandez do? This guy costs how much? Because he costs well over 100 million. Fernandez transfer market. This guy has cost. Oh, the fucking website's sort of lagging. That would be nice. Block transfers. He arrived at Chelsea for 121 million euros. 1 million euros in pounds. It's about just 105 million pounds. But I get the feeling not many people talk about this guy enough, and it is worrying because look, this guy, like, for 100 million pounds, look, let's be real, no player is worth around that money unless your name is Messi, Yamal. Well, I say Yamal nowadays because if someone was to buy him for about 120 mil, you would not sort of you wouldn't begrudge him for doing that at all. And I get the feeling this guy does not get talked about enough for his price tag because honestly struggle. Apart from being a box crasher, I struggle to see what this guy even does. And yes, I've got Declan Rice in my team, and he's not worth 100 mil at all. But the same thing, and same thing should go for Enzo as well, because I struggle to see what this guy does. I see people on Twitter saying this guy's a deep lying playmaker. He breaks the lines with his passing. Apart from maybe the odd occasion, I never see any of that at all. And I'll be real, I had to look back at the lineups before this game just so I can get a fresh, like, sort of fresh memory of what I'm going to be talking about. I cannot see what this guy does on the football pitch, and those of you in the stream now, you guys can let me know what the fuck does Enzo Fernandez do? Apart from box crashing, which the likes of Bellingham can do, the likes of Rice can do at times, the likes of, I don't know, Scott McTominay does. This guy is doing a similar job to fucking Scott McTominay at Napoli, but he costs what, 70 million pounds, 70, 80 million pounds more. And yes, because he got quite a bit of hype during the World Cup, and to be fair, I can't really actually remember what why he got that type of hype. Yes, he was in the Argentina squad that won it. However, there were quite a few people I remember saying that he wasn't the best young player in that tournament, but me personally, I can't quite remember. But yeah, I think the one that the main guy carrying that midfield is definitely Caicedo, and yeah, like, I just don't really see what that guy does at all. But there is one player that I do want to talk about, and that is Michael Elise. And now, like I said, Cucurella never had his best game at all, in my opinion. I believe that Elise was giving him the run around at times, but when you've got, I don't get, they bought him for about 40 million pounds, and I honestly don't get how no big six team in the Premier League who needed a right winger. Man City definitely did need one. Tottenham need one, but they've obviously got Kudus now, who I rate just as much. They've got Chelsea have obviously bought Neto. We bought Madueke for about 10 million pounds more. I honestly don't get how no other team snaps him up for like that. Was it 42 million pounds? Something as cheap as that. And I think this Champions League campaign, he's definitely gonna announce himself to the world, because the amount of stuff he was doing last night, his weight of the passing, beating his man, his just doing like the occasional bits of skill every now and then. The all round game from him was quality. And Harry Kane as well, we can't not talk about him. He got his goal. Obviously, when the penalty got given, you just knew he was on the bag it. And yeah, I think I've not seen much of Bayern Munich, but they definitely looks like they were just at sheer class. Probably done Chelsea in the end, to be honest. Trust my fucking doorbell's going now when I'm streaming. But anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, Bayern Munich. Oh yeah, like I said, they were just they just totally outclassed Chelsea, and it's a weird one because Chelsea go away to Old Trafford at the weekend, and they're winless in their last two games. Drew 2-2 to Brentford, lost last night to Bayern Munich, and they go away to Manchester United, and that's a ground that they've not won at for about 10 years, I think it is. And it's similar to Arsenal. You think, right, Man United are shit. This is probably the best opportunity they're gonna get to go to Manchester United and win the game. But every year. That's never the case. But one thing that's going to happen this year that didn't happen last year. Manchester United still have Ruben Amorim in charge. Last year, I think they sacked Ten Hag before the game, so they had Ruben van Nistelrooy there, and I think the score was 1-1 or 2-2. I think it might have been 1-1, but nevertheless, Chelsea couldn't win there. And is it weird to say that Chelsea won't get the win there? I don't know, because that's something similar to what we have when we go to Old Trafford. Yes, we got the win there, but we never actually performed great. And I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea walk out of that game with maximum 1 point. And yes, they should be comprehensively beating Manchester United. This should be the last game for Ruben Amorim in charge. But it's a tough one to call because it just seems to be their bogey team at this moment in time. And will they win it? To me personally, I struggle to see how, because obviously being winless in 2 games, they go there needing to win. And it's a big weekend of football as well, because we've got Manchester City and Liverpool have the Merseyside derby. So let's say Liverpool were to win, which I think will happen, and we were to beat Man City, which I'll delve into in a bit more detail come the preview, but I think we will beat Man City comfortably. If they were to draw at Old Trafford, let's just get the table up. So yeah, let's say if Liverpool were to win, they'd be on 15 points, and if we were to win, we'd be on 12. If Chelsea were to only get a point, there would already be there'd be a 3-point gap between second and should they get a point. And in regards to being towards the top, there'd be a 6-point gap if Liverpool was to win their game and then Chelsea was to draw that game against Man United. And for a team that should be in a title race, they would definitely be concerned, because based on the amount of money they've spent and the amount, they've come into this season as world champions, they should be in a title race this season. And with the quality that they've got, well, I say the quality, João Pedro, Cole Palmer, Caicedo, the money they spent on Enzo, their fullbacks are quality, their defence, I'm not too sure. But with the amount of money that they've spent and the hype they've got coming into this season, they should be in a title race. And to be 6 points off the pace coming into that, coming out of this weekend, unless they somehow get the win at Old Trafford, it's going to be tough to keep up with Liverpool, because Liverpool and Arsenal, you would think that we'd be the ones that are setting the pace this season, more Liverpool. But yeah, if you look at the games that Chelsea have coming up in the Premier League, they've got Brighton at home after Man United. They play Liverpool at Stamford Bridge on the 4th of October. Then Forest away, Sunderland at home, Tottenham away, Chelsea, Wolves, Burnley. They've got Arsenal in November. So yeah, there's a mix of fixtures in there. But yeah, they need to be, if they're serious about winning this title or challenging for the title, at least they need to be serious about going to Old Trafford and winning. But yeah, that's it in regards to Chelsea. Been a pretty bad week for them. Probably will get even worse if they can't get the win on Saturday, I believe their game is. But yeah, I want to move on to Liverpool now as well, because they got absolutely fucking jammy again. I was watching the Chelsea game, so I was only getting goal notifications. And for a team like Atleti, who are known for their defensive defensive resilience, I saw they were 2-0 up in about 6 minutes, and you're thinking, right, Liverpool, they're going to absolutely smoke them now. But Atleti get back into it. Marcus Llorente, that second goal, by the way, what an absolute goal that was from him. And you're thinking, right, it's Liverpool throwing away a 2-0 lead again. You would think that they are going to go and drop points this time, especially with how resilient Atletico Madrid are. Well, they're known to be, but they apparently started the season really bad. But you would think they'd hold on, but to be honest, I knew as soon as it went stoppage time and Liverpool were piling on the pressure, I thought, nah, they will somehow scumbag this game. They scumbagged the game against Bournemouth. They broke away and scored again in the game against Newcastle. The Arsenal game, that was just a wonder strike of a free kick, to be fair. who was the other one? Burnley at the weekend. They what do you call it? They got a penalty because that fucking handball idiot gave away a handball. But they found a way again, and it's annoying, man, because you got to think at some point it's their luck will run out. But they've got Isak to sort of bed in yet. I think he did start yesterday, but I don't think he was that great from what I've heard. But and even Florian Wirtz as well. I didn't really see how well he played, but I heard he wasn't that great either. But it's a tough one with Liverpool because let's be real, they weren't great to win the title last season. I think because everyone else was so shit, and in a sort of season like that, you've only got to be as good as your competition, and that's what they were. They didn't have to be fucking 17, 18 Man City or 19, 20 Liverpool. They just had to be better than the rest, and because the rest weren't great, i.e., Arsenal weren't great, Man City weren't great until the sort of end of the season. Chelsea fell off during Christmas. Man United and Tottenham, 15th and 17th. They only had to be better than the teams around them. And that's all they had to really be, and they were that. But it's going to be interesting to see how teams around them have strengthened. Yes, they have strengthened themselves as well, but it's not going to be easy. Not going to be as easy to defend the title this year, in my opinion. But yeah, I still do think they will win it in the end because I don't really see anyone else. Number one, catching them at this moment in time, and number two, having the ball to go all the way. But yeah, that's going to be it from me today. Remember, like, sub, and share the content around, and I'll be back for the game, for the preview for the game against Manchester City. I think we play Sunday at 4:30, I believe. But yeah, in a bit. If I can actually end it, that would be nice.